For you children who have only been around for Max Verstappen's dominance, before there was Max Verstappen, and after there was Sebastian Vettel, there was Lewis Hamilton. You know, 7-time world champion, leader in race wins and qualifying, pole positions. And it's the pole positions or qualifying that we're talking about today, because this man, during his prime, had some ridiculous qualifying times that he would just pull out of his arse. I have a few examples today. First we have Spa 2013. Notice I said 2013. This is in the second half of the season where Red Bull decided to put 1 billion upgrades on the car because Mercedes were apparently a threat. Yeah, how did that turn out? Oh my days, Red Bull, that was a blunder and a half. But anyways. For some reason, so being Spa, it was raining, it was intermediate conditions. The two Red Bulls were a whole second away from P3 at the time, which was Rosberg. I think it was P3, I haven't watched the session, I probably should, but nah. Let's do this video unresearched. So they were a whole second ahead of Rosberg, who was behind the two Red Bulls. Hamilton is doing his lap. Where do you think he would come? You know, heavily upgraded Red Bull. You know, absolute rocket ship of a car. You'd think he'd be maybe third, maybe fourth, maybe fifth if he's had a little bit of a blunder. No, for some reason he manages to find a 10th and a bit. Where did you get this from? Next we have Spain 2012. And you know, Hamilton started last in this race because he ran out of fuel and got disqualified. Which is a shame, because he probably could have won that race. Or I'd like to think that Maldonado would have won, because it'd be funny. But anyways, he started last, but he still set a time. And how good do you think that time was? Maldonado started P2, which is pretty damn impressive, even though his lap was apparently scruffy, but still. How far behind do you think Maldonado was? 5 whole tenths. My goodness me of jollof rice. What? Where did you get... I don't get it, man. Yes, that 2012 McLaren was a good car, but this is apparently the closest season of a period of time. I don't know. It was a damn close season. I mean, 7 different winners. That's pretty damn close. But like, where do you find this time? I genuinely don't get it. 5 tenths. Half a second from P1 to P2. It's not even like... What? It's not even like a top team to a back marker. The Williams was a horrendously wasted car. That car could have done so much more that season. And it's a damn shame that it had 2 very mid drivers. Yes, Maldonado had pace at time, and he showed it. He showed what that car could do. Imagine if a top driver was in that Williams. It's an alternate timeline I'd very, very much like to see. I might make a video on wasted F1 cars that were wasted. That actually might be fun. But anyways. A good car. The car that won the race. 5 tenths behind. Bad days. Okay then, I guess. After the last example, and the most famous. For good reason. Singapore 2018. The one that they all love to glaze. For good reason. The glaze is justified. Let me just say that. If anyone says that the lap is overglazed, dox them. Dox their personal information. They're lying. I'm joking, don't do that. I'm out. It's a joke. Please don't take that seriously. Anyways. The funny thing is the backstory behind this lap. Hamilton was literally in danger of being knocked out in Q1. Let me say that again. Q1. He managed to do better in Q2, but he was still a tenth and a half off the pace of the front. You know what I mean? He was still a tenth and a half. Oh my days! He was still a tenth and a half off of P1. So logically, you think he's not going to get pole position. Not with that pace, especially being almost knocked out in Q1. Nah, Lewis HamilSON. How do I tell you this? He drops 3 tenths on everyone else's head. at this point, what are you actually supposed to do? Because like, this is literally the definition of bro pulled that out of his ass. Because where did he find this? This lap, while it is glazed with good reason. Because where on God's green earth did you find this time from? 3 whole tenths when you were almost knocked out in Q1. That's a piss take if you ask me. I mean, once I see that, I'm leaving. Okay, what's the point? I'm joking obviously, but like, seriously, what? 3 whole tenths? I'll give up. You'll never see me in another race again. It's not fair. Anyways, guys, let me know if I've missed any. Tell me any Lewis Hamilton laps you want me to talk about. Maybe I'll make a part 2. Anyways, guys, that's it from me today. Please like, subscribe, and all that. And always remember, when the cheese gets hot, it melts. 6 letters, 1 word. Cheese.